Your account is frozen, effective immediately. These withdrawals are far too suspicious, Mr. Miller. The voice of the bank manager, Miss Plank, Thorne, was sharp and cold, like breaking glass. Arthur Miller stood before her polished desk. He was an older man, his clothes neat but simple. His hands, weathered by time and hardship, rested on the worn brim of his hat. He had come to the bank for a simple task, something he had planned for many months. He needed to move money from his savings. It was a large amount, yes, but it was for his granddaughter, Sarah. Her first year of college was starting soon, and he wanted to make sure she had everything she needed. He had saved for this day, worked extra shifts long ago, put aside a little each month. This money was not just paper, it was love and hope for Sarah's future. Arthur looked at Ms. Thorne. He tried to explain. "Ma'am," he began, his voice quiet but steady, "this money is for my granddaughter's college. I have all the letters from the school. I can show you." Ms. Thorne waved a dismissive hand. Her eyes, cold and assessing, scanned Arthur as if he were a common thief. "Paperwork can be faked, Mr. Miller. We see these kinds of things all the time. Elderly individuals are often used, or sometimes." She paused, letting her suspicion hang heavy in the air. "Sometimes they are the ones trying to do something wrong." Arthur felt a flush creep up his neck. He had faced danger many times in his long life, seen things no person should see. He had served his country with honor, though he never spoke of it. He carried the memories, and the scars, silently. But this accusation in a quiet bank, felt like a different kind of wound. "I am not doing anything wrong," Arthur said, his voice still calm, though a tremor of anger was now inside him. "This is my money. I saved it. My granddaughter needs it." "The freeze stands," Miss Thorne said, her tone final. She tapped her pen on the desk. "Our fraud department will investigate. They will contact you in 7 to 10 business days. That is all." She looked past him, as if he were no longer there. 7 to 10 business days. Sarah's tuition was due in 3 days. Panic, cold and sharp, tried to grip Arthur's heart. He thought of Sarah's bright, hopeful face. He could not let her down. If you've ever been treated unfairly and made to feel small, type "unfair" in the comments below. We've all been there, and it's a terrible feeling. Arthur stood there for a moment. He could feel the eyes of other customers on him. He felt embarrassed. He felt angry. But mostly, he felt a deep sadness. He had always tried to live an honest life, to treat others with respect. Why was he being treated like this? He thought about arguing more. He thought about asking for her boss. But Miss Thorne had the air of someone who enjoyed her power, someone who would not listen. He knew it would be useless. He turned to leave, his shoulders a little slumped. Then, he remembered. He reached into his old, worn wallet. Tucked behind a faded picture of his late wife, Mary, and a newer one of Sarah smiling, was a small laminated card. It was yellowed with age. On it, there was just one phone number. He hadn't looked at that card in years. It was from a friend, a very dear friend from his army days. His friend, George, had gone on to do very important things after their service. When George had given him the card, he had said, "Artie, my friend, if you are ever in a real jam, if the system is failing you and you have nowhere else to turn, you call this number. Promise me." Arthur had never used it. He was not one to ask for help. But this felt like that kind of jam. This was not just about him. This was about Sarah. He walked out of Miss Thorne's office and found a quiet corner in the bank lobby. His hand trembled slightly as he took out his old cell phone and dialed the number. It rang twice. A crisp, professional voice answered. "Yes?" "Hello," Arthur said, his voice low. "My name is Arthur Miller. I need to speak to General Harrison, if that is possible. He gave me this number a long time ago." There was a pause. Then, "One moment, Mr. Miller." Arthur waited. His heart beat a little faster. What if George didn't remember him? What if he was too busy? Then, a familiar voice, deeper now, but still full of warmth and command, came on the line. "Artie? Artie Miller, is that really you?" Relief washed over Arthur. "George," he said, "it's me. I am in a bit of a situation here, George. I would not call, but—" "Tell me everything, Artie," General Harrison said. His voice was kind, but Arthur could hear the steel underneath. Arthur explained what happened at the bank, simply and clearly. He told George about Sarah, about the college money, about Miss Thorne freezing his account and calling him suspicious. He did not complain. He just stated the facts. When Arthur finished, there was a short silence. Then General Harrison spoke, his voice now hard as iron. "Artie, you stay right where you are. Do not leave that bank. I will make some calls. Help will be there in less than 10 minutes. This is not right, what they are doing to you. Not right at all." Less than 10 minutes. Arthur nodded, though George could not see him. "Thank you, George," he whispered. He ended the call and sat down on a bench, waiting. He watched the clock on the wall. 1 minute passed, 2. Ms. Thorne walked by, glanced at him sitting there, and sniffed, as if his very presence annoyed her. Arthur just looked straight ahead, calm on the outside, but a storm of emotions churning within. 5 minutes. He prayed this would work. For Sarah. 8 minutes. He was starting to doubt. Maybe George couldn't do anything so fast. Then, exactly 9 minutes after he had hung up the phone, the main doors of the bank swung open with force. 3 people in dark, serious suits walked in. They looked important. They moved with purpose. The lead person, a tall man with sharp eyes, scanned the bank lobby. His gaze fell on Arthur, then moved to the sign that said Branch Manager, Ms. Thorne. He walked straight to Ms. Thorne's office. His colleagues followed. Ms. Thorne looked up, annoyed at the interruption. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice still full of that false authority. "Ms. Evelyn Thorne?" the tall man asked. His voice was quiet, but it cut through the bank's hushed atmosphere. "I am Jonathan Vance, from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. These are my associates from the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC. We are here about a complaint regarding account number 785 2B4, belonging to a Mr. Arthur Miller. We understand you froze this account today without proper cause." Ms. Thorne's face went from pink to white. Her jaw dropped. "FDIC? Comptroller? But there must be some mistake," she stammered. The pen fell from her fingers and clattered onto the polished desk. "The only mistake here, Miss Thorne," Mr. Vance said, his voice like ice, "appears to be yours. We have a report of a highly decorated United States veteran, a man of impeccable character, being unjustly accused and denied access to his own funds. Is this Mr. Arthur Miller?" He gestured towards Arthur, who had slowly stood up. Another man, who had entered quietly behind them, stepped forward. He wore a military pin on his lapel. He opened a file he was carrying and placed it on Miss Thorne's desk. "Madam Manager," he said, his voice respectful but firm, "perhaps you are unaware of who Mr. Miller is." He tapped the file. "This man served 3 tours for our country. He was awarded the Silver Star, 2 Bronze Stars for valor, and the Purple Heart. He has risked his life for people like you and me, so we can live in freedom." Ms. Thorne stared at the file, then at Arthur, then back at the stern faces in her office. She looked like she might faint. She finally understood. She had made a very, very big mistake. Have you ever seen someone powerful suddenly realize they messed with the wrong person? It can be quite a moment. Within minutes, the bank's regional manager was on the phone, his voice frantic. Then, the bank's chief executive officer himself called. He was on his way. When the CEO arrived, red-faced and out of breath, he rushed straight to Arthur. "Mr. Miller," he said, his voice full of shame. "Mr. Miller, I am so sorry. There are no words. What happened here today is completely unacceptable. It is not what our bank stands for." He apologized again and again. Arthur listened quietly. He was not a man for drama. He just wanted this fixed. Miss Thorne stood by her desk, pale and silent. She looked small now, her earlier arrogance gone. Mr. Vance from the Comptroller's office spoke to the CEO. "This incident has triggered a full review of this branch's practices by the FDIC and our office, starting immediately. We need to ensure this kind of discriminatory behavior, especially towards our veterans, never happens again." The CEO nodded quickly. "Absolutely. Anything you need, Ms. Thorne." He turned to her, his voice now cold. "You are suspended, effective immediately. Pending a full investigation, hand over your keys and badge." Ms. Thorne looked like she was about to cry. She fumbled in her purse and handed over her bank credentials. A security guard quietly escorted her out of her own office. Then, the CEO turned back to Arthur. "Mr. Miller, your account is, of course, unfrozen. We will make the transfer for your granddaughter immediately. And as a small token of our deepest apologies, the bank would like to contribute $5,000 to her college fund. He also offered Arthur premium banking services for life, free of charge. Arthur was surprised by the offer. "Thank you," he said softly. "That is very kind. My granddaughter will be very happy." All he had wanted was to make his transfer. A personal banker was assigned to Arthur immediately. With quiet efficiency and many apologies, the funds were transferred to Sarah's college account. Arthur felt a great weight lift from his shoulders. Sarah would be okay. The bank quickly announced new training programs for all its employees. They would learn about customer rights, about treating everyone with respect, and especially about how to serve veterans properly. The story of Arthur Miller, though the bank tried to keep it quiet, started to spread. People in the town talked about it. Some news sites even wrote about the quiet veteran who brought the big bank to its knees with one phone call. But Arthur did not feel like he had brought anyone to their knees. He was just a man who had needed help for his granddaughter. He was glad that his old friend George had been there for him. He was glad that justice had been done. He stayed humble. He did not want any fuss. He just wanted to go home and call Sarah, to tell her the good news about her college money. He knew she would be thrilled. What happened to Arthur Miller reminds us of something very important. It reminds us to never judge people by how they look or by how old they are. Everyone deserves respect. And those who have served our country, who have sacrificed so much, deserve our deepest honor and gratitude. Sometimes, even the quietest people have incredible strength and important friends. If you believe our veterans deserve respect and honor, please type "Respect Vets" in the comments below. Their service should never be forgotten. And if you enjoyed this story and believe in fairness and justice, please subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories like this one. Remember, one person standing up for what is right can make a very big difference.